story time, and this story time is about an abusive teacher that I had in 2019. So this starts off on a Wednesday, and I was found out I had art. Every Wednesday we had art, I think. Or no, it started off a normal day. So you should start from the start. So it started off as a really normal day. We had two different teachers that came. So we had one teacher that worked Monday, Tuesday, and Friday, Thursday, Friday, and we had one teacher that worked on Wednesday. So the teacher that worked on Wednesday, he was really good, but at that time he wasn't our teacher. We had a different teacher. I didn't really mind her. I've worked with her in the past. She was alright, I guess. Like I didn't have any problems with her. She was a good teacher, but I miss my old teacher. But she was still a really good person. I loved her. But you know, story time isn't about that teacher. So we have silent reading in the morning, and when I was in the group that goes out into the hallway, and I went out to the hallway like normal and went on my iPad because in this year level we got to go on iPads, and it was really fun. So I went on my iPad, and um uh and then the teacher comes out and says, "What are you guys doing?" And I was just like, "Oh, nothing. I'm just reading." But of course, I wasn't actually reading. Like, what child would want to be reading when you're out in the hallway for reading time? I don't think not many children would want to be reading during this time. And I was right. Not many kids. People were playing a basketball game where it's a bunch of cards and you have to flip them over and guess like which Laker players are, and like I don't know. This was a long time ago. People don't play this game anymore that I'm aware of. Um, so we the day goes on pretty fairly normal until we get to the last lesson. Um, just to keep you in mind, my classroom was upstairs, and I am really clumsy, so I fall downstairs really easily. And we were all rushing down the stairs because we had to go to art. And our art teacher, who was also my Wednesday teacher, wasn't there at the time because he started a new job. So he wasn't there. So we had a different teacher. And when I was walking down the stairs, I was a bit late because I fell down the stairs. And of course, I was limping when I came into class. And of course, he didn't like that. So he said, "Why are you late?" I'm like, "Well, I fell down the stairs. I'm sorry." So and then he told me, "Well, that's your fault." I'm like, "Yeah, I know it is. I didn't mean to. I'm very clumsy, I guess." And then after that, so he starts playing some music in class. Everyone just gets up, starts dancing. But during this time, he's also started to rip up the students' artwork. He's ripped up one of the kids' art and said, "This isn't good enough. I asked you to do it differently." And this kid starts crying. Like, who wouldn't? He just insulted someone's artwork and ripped it up and put it in the bin. And bear with me, he did this a couple times to some kids. Thankfully, this guy does not work at this school anymore that I'm aware of because I don't go there anymore. But so everyone starts playing. So he starts playing the music after everyone begs and begs him to play some music. Um, we I start. I got up and I tripped over because I needed. Well, so at the time we were doing watercolor painting. This is just a bit of the backstory, and I needed to get some water from the taps, and I was at the back table, and the taps were just over there. Like, on the corner of the room, there was one taps on the back and one tap, like, on the other side of the wall. And so I get up and I trip over again, and I like scream, and then he says, "Alina, get the hell up." I'm like, "Whoa, sorry, sir." And he just goes on a rampage and says, "You are the most insulting student I've ever had. You are careless, reckless. You'll never get far in life, and you're just a show off, and no one will ever want to be your friend." And he just completely embarrassed me in front of the class. And so, as soon as he said this, I just started crying. Like, what child wouldn't start crying when a teacher says that you will have no friends in life? I don't think any child wouldn't cry when a full grown man, like, he was an old man, I tell you that. He says to you, I don't think no one will want to be your friend. You're a show off. You're the worst student I've ever had. Like, no one, no child wouldn't start crying. So I started crying, and he says, "You're a show off. Get the hell out of my class." But mind you, he was just filling in for a teacher this time. Like, he wasn't even a permanent teacher. So I just say, "Fine, I'll leave." So I stormed out of class. And then I went to the councillors at our school. We didn't really have councillors, we just had the student leaders. So I went there, and I told them the whole thing, and they're like, "Oh, that wouldn't happen. He's such a good teacher." I'm like, "Oh, sure he is. Go ask everyone in that class, and they'll tell you the same story." And they didn't believe me, because I've told some lies in the past to those people to just get me out of a bit of trouble. And the heck? Sorry, it's really hard to remember this story because it was such a long time ago, but I'm always gonna like remember parts of it where he said some really mean things to me. I'm gotta like really remember it. So I stormed out of class. I have gone to the student leaders, yeah, and then they like said, "No, he would never do that." But this teacher's also had some incidents in the past with some students. He's favoritized girls, and like, like. So I don't think he's a good teacher at all. So when I go home, I tell my dad, blah blah blah. I'm not gonna say his name because people might know him. Has said this to me, and my dad straight away messages the school board. And then the next time I have art, the teacher's not there. He's been suspended from school, like a school teacher suspension or something, and he is put onto relief teaching. So all he can do is relief teach now. And last year, I think when I had him, I had a full-on panic attack because I'm like, "Get the hell away from me! No, no, no! I don't want you near me." But at my new school, we had a club going on, and when I went to this club, it's an out of school club, and I was there, and guess who walks through the door? This teacher. And I said, "Oh, hi, sir." He's like, "Oh, hi, Alina. Haven't seen you in a while." Looks me up and down and says, "Oh, you've lost a lot of weight." I'm like, "I was never fat. I just thought I was never fat." That really offended me. And then he said, "Also, your skin's cleared up a lot." I'm like, because I used to have really bad acne. And that also quite badly offended me. Like, it was quite brutally rude. And I go over and I call my dad and I tell him, "Guess who showed up at this club? Sir, Mr. What's his name?" And my dad's like, "Oh, push him off the rock climbing wall." And I'm like, oh, he'll break all of his bones because he's such an old man. But that was this story time, and expect more to come in the future. So don't forget to like and subscribe and turn post notifications on. See you later.